TEQ Broly has made his triumphant return, but who should you buy with your hard-earned Carnival coins? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the top legendary summon Carnival banner and determining what characters are worth your 500 Carnival coins. That is a steep price that many of you may or may not have achieved since last Worldwide. Even more so if you were one who has been saving up because you didn't reach pity during last Worldwide when they introduced it. So in this video, we're going to talk about the return of TEQ Broly and whether or not he is now currently worth your 500 coins, and if there's anybody else on this banner that just might be a decent pickup. So before we hop in to talk about Broly, let's go ahead and say this. If you are missing Super Saiyan 3 Goku or this Gohan here, I would say that they are your #1 priorities in terms of Carnival coins. They are extremely they are the new units, and the next time they are going to be available is during Tanabata, which is 6 months from now in July timeframe, Global's old anniversary. So I would say if you're missing either one of them, they should be the priority for saving your coins. And if you've already got them and you have the spare coins, then of course we want to start talking about this guy right here. LR TEQ Universe Devastating Combat Power Broly. This guy is a movie bosses category key 3 HP attack and defense, 200%. He's a flat 200%. Now, of course, that is previous meta leader skills, which means, you know, he's going to be a bit underpowered in terms of lead for the current meta, but he does have the LR in Broly. Did they even show him here? This guy here who gives the domain and is actually a better lead than just straight movie bosses. So, I mean, that's really a non-issue. Although having 2 of these floating around is not necessarily bad either, right? Especially with the buffs that movie bosses has gotten recently. So now, he does have an entrance animation that activates upon his entry turn. It gives extreme class allies key 2 and attack and defense 60% for the turn. He has damage reduction rate of 90% as the first attacker in turn. It basically means he's near invulnerable in slot 1. He also has damage reduction rate 70% and extreme class allies, chance to perform a critical hit 50% as the second or third attacker in the turn for 1 turn. His basic effects are guard, defense 200%, and of course he is unable to attack while he is in his restrained form. Once 1 turn passes, you can go ahead and transform him into the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. At this point, he gains obviously an 18 and a 12 key, where he will greatly raise attack infinitely so that's a 50% raise on his 18 key, and then just raise for the turn on his 12 key. It's also important to note that his 18 key is also an AoE, which is really, really helpful. His basic effects are key 3, attack and defense 260%, damage reduction rate 50%, and then for 3 turns he gets an additional 26% damage reduction. When attacking with 12 or more key, he gets attack and defense 150%, which is pretty easy to do. For every attack performed, he gets key 1 up to 5, and an increased chance in critical hit up to 50%. He launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack, and as the first attacker in a turn, he guards all attacks with an additional 200% before attacking. As the second or third attacker in the turn, he has an additional guaranteed super attack. So that, you know, that's just more damage output on that second slot. Then, when facing Pure Saiyans or Earthbred Fighters enemy, he has an additional key 3 and increased 50% chance of critical hit, which means after 5 hits, after 5 attacks, and when facing a Earthbred Fighters or Pure Saiyans enemy, which there are plenty of, he has guaranteed critical hit. When attacking with 24 key, he will have a guaranteed interruption of the attacked enemy, or as we call it, an action cancel. He does have an active skill that can be activated upon his next appearance after transforming, and it simply just gives him a key 3 and an additional attack and defense 26 for the rest of battle. He is an extremely powerful character, arguably one of the most powerful. I would say he's still somewhere in the top 5 in terms of LRs right now. Like, that's how good this guy is. Stacking attack, basic 50% 50% damage reduction with guard in the first slot, as well as, you know, launching multiple super attacks, right? 50% chance when he gets hit, or a guaranteed if you decide to float him into slot 2 or 3. So really, really powerful. He's actually extremely good in the current battle hardened formidable foes, and he's even better in long fights. He's one of those characters that does well in both. It's kind of crazy how good he is. He's just all around a great unit. He's a great filler unit on any Saiyan's team that doesn't have any super class restrictions, and he's a great filler unit or just all around dominant force on any villain team where all the villains are being buffed in some manner or the sort. He is just that powerful. So if you were to spend the coins, right, if you had the main featured LRs for the 10th anniversary already, and you have your 500 coins, Broly is not a bad choice. In fact, he is the best choice between both Part 1 and Part 2, right? STR Gohan was on Part 1, and this guy is on Part 2. Between both Part 1 and Part 2, he is probably the bigger choice for your Carnival coins. Of course, right now, if you're somebody who also has him and you're considering using your coins here, I would say that there isn't much else of value. I mean, even Gogeta is sort of dropping in value. He can still have value on some of the newer teams with that 220 boost, as well as all the support that's happening. And of course, his target skill late in the fight is always appreciated. But, you know, as the anniversary LR from the year prior, he's beginning to show signs of aging. And of course, he's going to start showing up more often now. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that there is a rush to get him, but I mean, if you had everyone else, it isn't a bad choice. Otherwise, I would say that the only other option here really is to wait and see what this guy's EZA is going to look like. There's a very, very 80% likelihood that he's going to be EZAing by the end of the celebration. So between him and Grade 8 of Vegeta, if you had all of the other main LRs and you were missing them, they might be a decent choice for your 500 coins. Otherwise, you can just pocket them. So I'm very surprised that they didn't make their own banner for this guy, but I mean, he is on here. This guy did have an EZA. I don't think he's worth the 500 coins, especially since he's also on... You can pick him up for a free redstone. So if you were missing this guy, go with the redstone. Do not spend your 500 coins. I know some people were talking about trying to use them early on if he was, if he ended up being good enough. He is good. He's not worth 500 coins good, if you know what I mean. So I would say, again, top priority is Broly. If you had everyone, if you already had everyone else, top priority is Broly. Gogeta with a second, and then maybe this guy. We'll come back to this guy if his EZA ends up being stellar. But for now, Broly is your top choice. So, guys, that is it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know who did you end up picking with your 500 Carnival coins. This time around, I didn't really have anybody needed to pick up. I got my dupe of Gohan, and I pulled plenty of copies of Broly on my summons. So I'm curious to see what you guys decided to grab in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.